What is up, everybody? This is Travis and Josh, and this is the Whiskey and Business podcast, where we just talk about all things marketing and all things business inside of the Pacific Northwest, and also applies to other areas, but we're trying to focus on this area alone because this is our area of expertise. Travis, how long have you had your marketing business and your videography business in Coeur d'Alene or surrounding areas?
I've been working in the industry for about 5 years, just piecing together experience after experience and just building it out from there.
Okay. Now, what got you into marketing?
Well, once I marketed my own business and spent all of the time building the sites, building the logos, building the brand, I realized that, heck, I could do this for everyone else.
Right, exactly. Now this podcast, what we're going to do in the beginning of each one, we're going to have a bottle of whiskey. We're going to have one glass for each podcast, and we're going to review at the end whether we like this one or not, and then kind of the notes of it. So this one, we got the Woodinville bourbon whiskey, 90 proof. So this one is a well-known one in our area. So this is probably in every liquor store you could possibly go to. But so we're going to have this one today. And then this topic is just the intro for the episode. We're just going to go over kind of what to expect. And we're also going to talk about what we've seen happen during COVID from last year, and then what the market is now, specifically in Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, and the surrounding areas. Because it's a big 180 that's kind of happened in the last year. So I'll ask you first. So from 2019, let's say January, right? Mm-hmm. And what was the change in your business and what you saw in this area in terms of marketing and stuff like that from right before COVID happened and then right when COVID happened, and probably peak in like July when everybody kind of just shut down? What was your experience on that one?
Well, in my experience, everything got very, very, very quiet for a minute because everyone was scared to spend any money. Everyone was afraid that they would blow their budget and not be able to survive a pandemic we didn't know how long would last at all.
Right.
But then you saw people feeling the need to remind people they still existed, to keep their content going.
Right.
And the larger companies...
Was that hard?
Yeah, it was kind of...
Having to explain to your clients, like, listen, we're in a pandemic, but
right.
don't stop.
Everyone's staring at their screens right now. You have a captive audience, literally, government-mandated captive audience. Sell them.
Right.
Remind them what you do. Make sure that when you reopen, you still exist and you're still in people's minds.
Right, exactly. Now, did you see any pushback with your clientele? Because I know what I did was right when the COVID happened, I didn't just like sit around like most marketing companies and then hoping they don't get that cancellation email.
Mm-hmm. Cut marketing from the budget, which
yeah,
seems
exactly.
to be the first thing to go.
Yeah, and so what I did was I just basically emailed all my clients. I said, hey, this is what's going on. You're paying me this, and maybe we can bring your business online, whether that was a furniture store, whether that was an auto mechanic, whether any business that I had in my clientele at the moment. I just called them all, switched up their marketing strategies, because some of them were doing like branding and some of them were doing like local in-store visit ads, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we basically just took their whole marketing budget, made websites that people can either purchase gift cards, purchase stuff online, and then if they couldn't and they still need people in there, we had to come up with the curbside pickup and make videos and, keep the audience engaged with their business, because that and all my clients had record-breaking years during COVID, specifically because a lot of people pulled out. A lot of people just said, oh, I'm spending $1,000 a month on marketing. I'm just going to get rid of that instantly. Mm-hmm. Whereas, well, no, I mean, most people got a substantial amount of money, like with their unemployments, when how they had that, like almost, I think people were making like, $900 a week at one point.
Stimmy checks.
Yeah, the stimmies coming out and stuff like that. And then now, like the people were still trying to hire. It was just there was a small niche of businesses that went, that couldn't really do anything, like bars. They were pretty much closed down entirely. The resort businesses, anything dealing with a high crowd, there was nothing you can really do with that. Yeah. But when in terms of like items and services and stuff like that didn't stop.
No, I think the biggest phrase, the biggest word that I heard throughout the pandemic from the beginning of the 2019, as that whole year spread out, was pivot. I heard everyone saying and really emphasizing the need to pivot. No matter what that was, every business had to figure out how to do business differently.
Right.
And for some businesses, that was the little push that they needed to actually embrace marketing or embrace a new way of adding convenience to the consumer. Because a lot of the local small businesses in our area, convenience wasn't really on their radar.
No.
They were the furniture store, they were the hardware store. That's just what they were. That's what they did. That's what they were.
They got their local customers coming in. You know, they interacted every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them, you'd be surprised. Like, so what I've seen in like Coeur d'Alene, it's almost like it's always behind like 3 to 5 years of trends in other Tri-Cities, right? So like it's more old school here still, which is awesome. The owners are usually inside the business.
Handshake business.
Yeah, handshake business, you know what I mean? So that's not the case in most areas. So, you know, for me coming from, you know, California and stuff like that and having to market out there, totally different demographic out here. So but it's easier to appeal to the audience because everybody's on Facebook, right? Out here, Facebook is key. You got the trade groups, you got the North Idaho groups, you got all this stuff. People engage out here, you know, more than ever online.
Yeah, absolutely. And Facebook's like created a level playing field for people where even though all of the huge corporations are just drowning like millions of dollars into boosted ads, millions of dollars into advertising, any mom and pop shop can start advertising and actually be just as relevant. If they do it right. Yeah,
that's the key, though. If they do it right. So, you know, most of the time I see, like when I take over an ad account or something on Facebook, it's like I go through the ads, it's like 40 million boosted posts. I'm like, oh, man, like that's, you know, like with boosting, you know the boosting is that sexy button on their page that says, hey, you want to promote your business, click this button and you're just magically going to make money.
Oh, you're boosted. There's nothing that can go you are boosted.
Yeah, nothing that can go wrong at that point, right? So, you know, and then, but doing it right is actually going into your business manager, going into the back end, creating conversion campaigns, like doing all this stuff.
A/B testing.
Yeah, A/B testing and in video content, different kinds of carousel ads or whatever. Not boosted posts. And because that's Facebook's way of just saying, hey, you don't advertise, so I just want you to give us some money just to benefit off of a little bit, if in my opinion.
Yeah, well, then there's no call to action half the time. It's like, hey, we had a dog come into our shop today. Oh, look, here's the dog. Oh, we had a dog here. Oh, there was a dog here. That's awesome. And everyone's like, oh, thumbs up.
Right, right.
And that's where the post ends. It's like, oh, sweet. Yep. Nice,
yeah.
You guys met a dog.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Exactly. What's the ROI?
Right.
So that's the difference, you know what I mean? But yeah, every platform's like that. Like Google too, you know. Mm-hmm. I've seen so many Google ad accounts here that I've ran that just like either a Google rep created it, right? So that's like just the same thing as a boost button on Facebook.
Right.
Or their marketing company before just had a bunch of broad keywords. So for example, I have a client that and I don't think I told you this before, but I had an automotive client, and they were running ads for like a year. So they spent like $36,000 for the full year of ads. So when I got the account, I was thinking, I have a lot of data to go off of. You know, this is going to be super good to build out. I have, you know, all the metrics. I get the account, and for like a half a year, they're paying for Uber, you know, Lyft, taxi services, just random keywords that had nothing to do with auto mechanics. Had dealing with cars, but it's because the marketing company before me put a bunch of broad keywords, and then so Google eventually started running and testing some additional, you know, keywords and getting clicks, and no one was managing it. Right. So they were spending like $15, $20 a click on that at times, and on their end, the Google's sending out the automatic reports to him, so he's like stoked, right? He's stoked. You know, he's like, wow, like I got 10,000 impressions, I got 500 clicks in this week or whatever, but it doesn't line up with the business and people coming in, and then he's spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
Well, I think what people forget is Google and Facebook, they are businesses. Like, the bottom line is them getting that money, regardless of the success of their clients, which are the businesses. They are not invested in the success of those businesses.
Right.
They want it to succeed, so you keep giving them money, but all they have to do is say, hey, this is how many people saw the ad, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. but they are not actually
Right.
strategically helping you like
They're
a
not
professional.
responsible for your success.
No,
They're
no.
the platform of success.
Right.
They're just not responsible to give you that success you need.
They get the same amount of money whether you succeed or whether you fail.
Right.
And I mean, they have some incentive to make you succeed, but they are not invested in like a marketing
Right.
company would be or a
Yes.
media professional would be.
Yeah, there's a difference. It's a matter of how much you spend, right? So like anything below like $100,000 a year, they ain't even gonna look at you, right? You're in that pool of people that they don't care whether you fail or not. You're in now. So you have to make sure your ads are good. Like for example, I had to get my ad account to above $100,000 in ad spend for a year and have multiple high quality converting campaigns. Now I have a Facebook rep, but now they're invested into my account where when I'm doing something wrong or there's something better, they're going to tell me right away because now they know, well, this account spends hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah.
But before that, I was just another number in the pool of advertisers.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a certain point that you get to like that whole pool, and it's hard to get to that. I mean, for just a business alone, like I have a manager account, so my ad spend goes with all the accounts I manage. Versus now, local business, that's going to be hard to spend $100,000 a month, and or per year even. You know what I mean? So it's just a little bit different when you're dealing with the low. When I say lower budget, I'm not necessarily saying low budget, but a low budget to these advertising platforms is anything below $100,000 per year. So you have to get a good campaign, and there's not a lot of competition out here.
No.
Like, I think every campaign that I run and I manage and I create out here for a client skyrockets, and their cost per click goes way down.
Right.
I'm sure you've seen the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very important that you actually put it together the right way because, like I said, bottom line, you're still spending the money. So
Right.
Facebook and Google, they will give you, they're businesses, but they do not replace a marketing professional. They are a tool to be used by a marketing professional.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you can figure it out, you may have some success, but it's a tool.
Yes.
And just like holding an expensive camera or
Right.
using an expensive piece of equipment, it is a tool that can bring a lot of positive results if you're using it right.
Yeah, but you can still buy a $20,000 camera and not know how to use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you got the flashy camera, but you have no idea how to get the color right, the gamma right, the exposure, nothing. Right?
Right. Well, it's like in my world, it's like, what, we're paying you that much to hit record and stand there with, no. There's a lot more to it. Trust
Yeah.
me, your iPhone is great. Your iPhone is fantastic. It takes very good video, but you are paying for this specialty
Right.
experience.
Yes, this nice, $5,000-$6,000 camera that could shoot in any light and any exposure settings you can imagine. Versus your iPhone will do just fine but it's not going to make you money.
Right. I mean, I'll hand you my expensive camera. You can rent it, but I do not guarantee the results will be the same.
Exactly.
Or
Have you had anybody? So there is one thing though. When I first started, I had not first started, but when I was before I had my $10,000 rig, right? I had a $2,000 camera, and then my secondary camera was an iPhone 11 Pro Max, right?
Yeah.
Those are good cameras. Have you ever experienced any pushback of clients being like, I paid you $2,000 to come here, and you have one nice camera, but why are you using a phone?
Yeah. I had one back when I had like a little Nikon backup camera that I mounted up on the tripod because it had the best built-in zoom.
Right.
It was for some random social thing at the fair, and it was this lady came up to me. Their rep was just like, "Well, I thought we were paying for a professional. That's not a very big camera." And I was like, I was like, yeah, but it's not a shaky iPhone from the crowd. Believe me, whether the size of the camera is huge or not, as long as the person who's using it knows how to use it.
Right.
And at that point, I think I had multicam on the thing. And
Okay.
she was picking out one camera on the top and the very back zoomed in, and she's just like, well, I thought that you, for that much, you know, and it was like that much as in like $350 or something.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I thought for that much we would have a bigger camera. And I'm like, listen, you're getting a deal here. This is a nice enough camera for your needs.
Right.
Trust me, you'll be fine with the finished product. Don't push back on price when I'm at the actual event, please.
Right. Yeah, that's a little rough. Yeah. iPhones have a big stigma with professional, right?
Right.
But what's funny is you can go on YouTube anywhere, and even so I have the iPhone 12 now, Pro Max. That camera does better than $5,000-$6,000, Sony Alpha cameras or Canon R5s. Like this thing will do better in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Than than those super professional rigs. Although you don't get a lot of the control. That's the only difference, right? Like
right. Well,
you buy those expensive cameras for the control.
I remember one time I was filming with a bank, and we were in the VP's office, and we were waiting to film all of the staff on his couch. And I had all the lighting set up, I had all the audio set up, and we're set to go. And it was cold outside, so I brought my camera in, and the whole lens fogged. And we're sitting in the VP's office waiting. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed. And I'm like, okay, you know what?
You didn't have any anti-fog on you?
No. I'm like, okay, screw it. And I looked at the VP. I'm like, don't tell anyone this, but we have the lighting, we have the sound. And I took out my brand new iPhone, put it up on the tripod. And I'm like, this is going to shoot in 4K, 60 frames per second.
Right.
As long as everything else is in place and you have someone who knows what they're doing, this is going to substitute out my $3,500, $5,500 camera right now, because I want to film and I don't want to take up your office any longer.
Right. Yeah.
Trust me, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone I use an iPhone because they will lose their minds.
I know. I think it's just the phone nature. I just don't think they realize that you're basically paying $1,000 for a camera.
Right.
But this camera is so dang powerful that it beats out a lot of the $6,000-$7,000 cameras.
Well, how many millions of dollars went into developing
right.
the perfect camera for any situation?
Exactly.
Like, phones are more than phones. They've put so much work into making it better than any other phone.
Yep.
And, all of those phones are competing to have the best camera ever. And what's crazy is these days it's just like it's a level playing field, like equipment. People can acquire equipment that can do a professional job once they train themselves how to do a professional job.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into just having the camera itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, obviously, we're just talking about the cameras. But so bouncing back to we were talking about with COVID, we went over like before. What have you seen this year alone? So 2021, I know there's a lot of states that are still going through it. Like I think Washington is going back to stage 2. California, same thing. New York, same. Like all these bigger cities, right? And still a lot of small cities. But for some reason, Idaho and specifically Coeur d'Alene and the surrounding areas, we haven't been hit too hard in terms of COVID, even like during it in 2020. But like this year. So I'll talk about what I've seen, but like I want to hear what you've seen so far as of January.
Well, I've seen a huge change and uptick in how people do business. While before I felt like every single client I had to educate on the importance of marketing, because like you said, we were 5 years behind, and heck, 3 years ago, I'd venture to say we were 15 years behind up here.
Right.
When compared to Los Angeles and actual like huge cities and stuff. But the COVID times really kind of pushed us into the digital age. And I feel like what's happening right now and what's about to happen is a big boom in the digital marketing age, because everyone has seen the value of convenience, the value of being able to log on to a call wherever you are, face-to-face through Zoom or whatever platform.
Right.
And it's changed the minds of, well, the consumers were already there because they were on social media and they were on Google and they would search like that.
Right.
But it's changed the minds of the businesses where they've had to fiddle around and figure out how to draw people in through online, through convenience. And now I think that marketing is going to play a much larger role in our community.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's a good take because it has, and you've seen it. So
Absolutely.
So like my business, quadrupled in COVID because when there's the go-getters, they find the go-getter marketing companies, right? Mm-hmm. So what I've seen though, the trend for this year for businesses listening, business owners, the trend is that search results are up around 60 to 80% for things to do in Coeur d'Alene from 2019. So the statistics from 2019, pre-COVID, there was a lot of people, right? Coeur d'Alene was popping. I mean, summers, there was tens of thousands of people coming here.
Yeah.
But the search results and the trends from compared to 2019 and then so far in 2021 is up 60 to 80%. And so with that said, that means that there is going to be a drastic change of visitors here, especially because of Washington. Whereas Washington's shutting back down, Coeur d'Alene just came out with that we're in stage 4 and we're pretty much all cylinders firing on any event, right?
Right.
So there is no limitation of what you can do at this moment out here. So the amount of people that are actually going to come here, it's just going to benefit everybody in Coeur d'Alene, right? All the businesses, whether you like it or not. I know there's a lot of locals that are like, oh, we're getting overrun, like whatever, you know what I mean? There's just so many there's just so much opportunity for businesses out here, especially on the Strip, that are going to benefit from this influx of people. And that's why it's going to be important to be on Google, because everybody can say this. They go to a new area, they fly say they go fly to Tennessee or they go to New York or even go out of the country. What's the first thing you do? You pull out your phone, you Google map wherever the heck you want to go.
Yeah. You build out your itinerary right then and there, figure out what businesses are there.
Exactly. So if your business isn't running Google ads, but yet you know exactly what people are going to do, they're going to be on Google.
Yeah.
So so that's why I try to tell all the businesses, like, well, if there's going to be an uptick of people, plus it's the summer, this is where you're going to make all your money, right? Why won't you be on the platform, and why won't you start doing some marketing that's going to put you in front of those people right away? The people that are searching for your specific thing.
Yeah. Well, Google isn't just a business. It's not just a search engine. It's a directory.
Right.
Especially with Google Maps and all of those things. If you have a Google Maps listing and an ad and you have good SEO, so your site is actually up there when this person searches for your service
right,
or for things to do, then you're firing on all cylinders.
Exactly.
You actually will draw people in immediately when they try to find what they want to do.
Well, plus people are people in general on phones are lazy.
Yeah.
They don't want to do much scrolling. They don't want to do much. They want things to be right in front of their faces. That's what they're used to, right? Mm-hmm. Facebook has definitely helped train the mind of people to just want things right away. Amazon, same thing. So in terms of Google, businesses will be like, well, yeah, I'm like number 7 on the search results, right? And I'm like, well, do you really think any of those people, maybe 1 out of like 1,000 people, will like scroll to the 7th line? No, like they want if you're not in that first 3 column, you're done. You lost them.
Right. And what makes those 12 before they switch to the next page?
Oh, good luck on the next page too.
Right. What makes it so you are going to pass up all those businesses to get down to number 7?
Right.
I'll actually pass by ads a lot because ads are all the time really spammy.
Well, that's because ads. Most people brush over that, right?
They see the ad, they click on it.
Yeah.
Plus, I have ad blocker added on my Wi-Fi, so it immediately pulls up cannot access site. I'm like, well, I just want to click the ad.
So we're a little bit different. We notice those things, right? As a business owner, you know that those are ads.
I scroll down to the people who have done the work to actually get up to the high Google rating, where they are. Right. They have enough people actually.
Their SEO is really stellar and whatnot too.
They have enough social stuff feeding in where their business has been driven up to the top because they've done the work, and I know their quality.
Right.
And most people, whether they realize that's what they're thinking when they're scrolling. They're going to choose the top because they think that's the, ranked out of 10.
Right. Right. But that's what I'm saying is like, when in terms of marketing, if any type of business, there's a starting point always. Like, there's always a standard starting point, and that's just Google, right?
Yeah.
Or vice versa, Facebook. if your audience, if you're like a women's product or like, a gym or whatever, Facebook and Instagram are probably going to be your best bet other than Google. But there's always a starting point. And what I've seen is the pushback of like, because like my service fee is $500 a month I charge to manage the account and create the ads. Sometimes that's a lot of money to somebody, and they're like, dang, like why am I paying you $500? Well, it's like, well, I mean, that's actually cheap,
right,
in the grand scheme of things, because I don't take a percentage of your ad spend.
Especially nationals.
National company,
compared
yeah.
to national costs.
Exactly.
Like that is very...
very inexpensive, right? And that's just because I know what I'm doing. I go for volume. So I can do things really fast because I've learned how to do it really fast. So it doesn't take me as much time. I can charge less and and they can just pay what I'm worth at that point. But then they have to pay for some ad spend. But what they think is because there's been a lot of marketing companies in this area that have screwed a lot of people. I've heard many stories of like, oh yeah, they do this. I don't know what they're doing, or they didn't do a good job or whatever. They're afraid they don't understand that if you set up a really good advertising campaign, no matter what platform you use, you're going to make your money back on your ad spend, right? So if I'm saying I recommend you spend $1,000 a month, it's going to take it over the course of the whole month. You're going to get that money back, whether one way or the other. You're either going to break even, you're going to get a customer, their lifetime value is $1,000, whatever the case may be, it's going to come out to it because you're grabbing the people that are searching for your stuff. They want to buy from you.
It's because you know how to use the tools.
Exactly. Exactly.
And use them right.
Right.
you're not trying to hoe out a garden with the hoe backwards.
Yeah.
Scraping the ground, not doing anything.
Exactly, with a fork or something, right?
You will get results if you put the money in, especially with a professional who can actually put it in correctly.
Exactly. So it's all about like the investment. It's like you have a business out here, right? Take advantage of the amount of people that are becoming this summer. This summer is going to be insanely crazy. There's going to be live events. There's going to be tons of stuff to do. People want stuff. Like, I mean, even on the weekends, you've seen it. The weekends have like tens of thousands of people, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, holy moly, like the whole downtown, it's not even summer yet, right? And I hear it at night. All the bars are going off, like they're getting max capacity. I'm like, geez, man. Like, how, as a business owner, how do you not see this metric coming in? Why won't you want to grab some of that pool? Put your hand into the pot of people and scoop out some, right?
Because you can guarantee, even if you're not doing it, someone else is.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way I've always looked at it is the first person to do it, or the first few to actually do it, are going to be way ahead of everyone else.
Right.
And if you're not doing it, then you will fall by the wayside.
Yes.
I mean, we are looking at a huge business boom. A lot of people all coming in, a lot of things just expanding, and everyone just trying to get back to normal.
Yep.
But there's a new normal happening.
Yep.
Things are not going to be the same. They could be better. And that is our responsibility.
Yes.
If a person can't find you on
Google. And this is their best friend.
Yes, absolutely.
Anybody moving here, this is their best friend.
Yeah.
So getting on anything that dealing with this, they ain't going to read a newspaper, right? They're not used to that. People moving here, like out here, the locals are used to getting papers, getting, whatever.
Right.
But the amount of people that moved here, because even during COVID, of people that are working remotely in other states, moving here with their income, they're used to Googling absolutely everything.
Yeah. And consumers are merciless.
Right.
They will not take into account that, they just didn't really want to. It's your responsibility to be found in the places that you can be found, to have something there to find. Even if you're not running marketing campaigns to really embrace the best. If you don't have a Facebook or a website,
good luck.
Do you
exist?
I won't go to a restaurant if I can't look up the menu.
Right, exactly.
I won't even consider using a service if I log onto their website and it boots me out a couple times, or I can't find the call us button.
Right, or it's an unsecured website that doesn't keep my information secure.
Doesn't
I'm not going to do any
mobile. Of that. It doesn't. It's become the business's responsibility to the consumer to have accessibility
and to play off of the impatientness.
Yeah, and the consumers will not have patience or mercy if you are not playing ball.
Exactly. Click on your website, it loads for 3 seconds, they're off.
Right.
It didn't load in 0.6 seconds, it loaded in 3, so they're off.
Yeah. Oh, this website
Too long.
must be broken. This must not be a real
Exactly.
business. Oh, well, I don't know how they found your website if it's not on Google, but they found it and they're off.
Right, and it's real. Like I'm telling you, when I tell people like, hey, make sure your website loads in less than 3 seconds, they're like, what? What do you mean?
Are you sure?
Like, why 3 seconds? Right? I'm like, oh, that's literally when most people will leave. You know,
Right.
and they don't believe me until they see the bounce rates at 88%. I'm like, dude, your Google Analytics are saying that you're.
That's something this guy can track.
Yeah, I'm like, dude,
he will check it.
Yeah,
Legitimately, they logged onto home and either something offended them or it took too long to load, and they went right back out.
They went out.
Went down to the next one on Google.
Yep, exactly, and yeah, all that stuff's like hardcore evidence. Like, I'm not just saying a bunch of random shit just for no reason, right?
Right.
I'm not just like spewing out a bunch of like sales tactic, whatever.
Like some
BS.
people do.
Like some people do. I'm
do.
like, dude, like I've built. I think over the course of my career, I've built like 150 to 190 websites, right?
Right.
I built a lot of websites, so I've done a lot of tracking for those types of things. And yeah, if your website's not loading within like 3 seconds, it's like usually an 80% or higher bounce rate. And it's all there. So when they're like, nah, like we get like 4,000 people to my website. I'm like, but you realize that you have an 80, 90% bounce rate. So you're literally getting, I don't know, like 90 of those people, right?
Right.
You know, like, or, you know, even like maybe 200 or whatever. But like your bounce rate is so high that like, yeah, cool, you got traffic. But that just means that many people clicked on your website and then all of them friggin' hopped off.
So you're selling a book, and people have looked at the cover of your book at least 1,000 times.
Right.
But only 3 people have actually opened the book.
Exactly. And it's funny, you know, but these are like things that like, you know, obviously the general business owner won't know these things, right?
Right.
But I like to do the like doing rebuttals. I don't like rebuttal people just to sell. I tell them things of like, these are the statistics. This is what what it is. But they've heard that from multiple marketing companies that maybe don't know what they're talking about, but they take the talking points of the gurus, or they talk to somebody in marketing, and then they just basically regurgitate what they said to sell a product, and they don't know how to do it.
Well, those gurus are able to be found on Google, right? So they Google the talking points, and then now they're a marketing professional.
Exactly. So that's one of the headaches. And for the last topic, we'll go into that. What are your biggest I guess, rejections when it comes to marketing? Like, say you get a new client or you miss a client in that aspect. What is their rejection or anything that they're scared about when it comes to pulling the trigger on buying a marketing package or buying, you know, a media package or whatever?
I'd say they don't believe in the marketing. They don't think it's going to benefit them. They can't really picture it actually making a difference, or they say, "Oh well, we're already doing fine. We're busy enough. We don't need to actually market or do that." Which, that's hard, and I don't usually get into it with them. But my immediate thought is, well, you're not pressing forward or planning for the future. If you're already fine with what you have,
yeah, that and good luck when the market, you know, goes down.
Or when one of your competitors actually starts doing what is recommended.
Right.
Then suddenly all of your business we have too much business already, will slowly go to whoever is doing what they should and could do.
Right. Yeah. I have heard that a lot. So it's like, yeah, you know, I can't do the marketing because, you know, I'm already at max capacity. I'm like, then hire. You know, right. I know it is hard to hire. Like, there is an excuse now, right?
Yeah.
Where it is hard to find good work, but there's always a way. As a business owner and entrepreneur, you just get used to saying yes, right? Because you'll always figure it out. It's just if you're complacent, that's where it becomes scary, right?
Pivot.
Exactly. You're like, you don't want to be accustomed to what you're at, because then if it starts to go, because then your life starts to kind of like even out to that playing field. But then when it goes lower, now you're freaking out, right? because you're not in an uncomfortable position at all the time. You're always in a comfortable position. Like what I do is I always put myself in super uncomfortable positions for myself, not like, bad, but like in business, because I always want to be ahead of the game. I want to grow, whatever the case may be. So when I go to a business owner and they say, yeah, we're at max capacity, we can't do any marketing, I'm like, no, you can. Okay, maybe I don't do Google ads for you, right? But maybe you start working on content for branding. Maybe you start doing some SEO. Maybe you start doing some stuff for the future. So when you do flip the switch and you hire more people or you get somebody on your team, you're ready to go, right, on that aspect. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
But they just kind of shut out marketing in general, and they're like, no, I don't want to do anything because I'm comfortable with what I'm at.
Well, on that note, like every job I've ever worked before I started my company, I was always looking to how far up can I work? What is the next step? What is the next thing that I can do to be the best me, to actually succeed in the best way that I can?
Right.
And if you become complacent and you stop actually pursuing future goals, then like you said, that dip happens and you're not building towards anything. Then you're just falling with no backup plan.
Exactly.
Not only do you have a backup plan to catch up everything that may fall, but you should always be working up to the higher tier, because then you fall to where you were before when you weren't even pursuing anything more.
Right. You're taking
Adapt
baby
and
steps.
pivot.
You might fall, but you're at that same level.
Yeah.
But if you fall and you're down
right.
that level.
If you fall from here, you're going to go way further than if you've built yourself from here and you fall straight back to where you were.
Exactly.
You should always be looking for the next step, the next best thing, what you can do to be better, because even the consumers recognize when a person is not applying themselves or trying to be the best they can be.
Right.
And once a competitor is, then you will
Dude,
have that
takes
fall.
you out. Takes
You'll
you
have
out.
that fall.
I know it is funny when you go to like a Google listing and they have like 240p photos and then like random other like user generated photos that have nothing to do with their business.
Right. Yeah.
And they expect people to just get directions to that place.
or they have Shutterstock photos without the Shutterstock watermark removed.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Come here for waxing, and you see the person being waxed with the Shutterstock.
The nice
watermark.
Scene and everything, and you go to the place, you're like, what the heck?
It's like, is this a meme? Nope. This is their marketing campaign.
Yeah, that is always funny, but awesome. So we're at the end of the segment. So we were sipping on the Woodinville Bourbon Whiskey 90 proof. What did you think about this?
I thought it was really smooth.
Yeah, it was not bad, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even. I think it's high enough quality that I wouldn't even introduce a mixer or anything to it. Just a nice little sip.
Right, no
Very
ice.
Smooth. No ice.
It was straight up, just straight smooth. I think it's not as like harsh like in bourbon.
Yeah.
You get this like medicine-y feeling when they're super strong. I know 90 proof is a lot, but it's like this is more of like the bite of a rye, but in a bourbon.
Yeah, that was my thoughts too. It's just very smooth. It's not like sweet, but it's not bitter.
Right.
It's that perfect line.
Yeah, it's pretty dang good.
Yeah.
For the price, I think it was like $40, $45 or something for the bottle. But yeah, that's a super good whiskey. So I'd highly recommend this one. Next week I'm gonna bring my all-time favorite. So stay tuned for that one. If you guys are into whiskey, I'll have a good recommendation. But yeah. So this was the first episode. So pretty much every week, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be having an episode coming out that's going to be all about marketing. So if you have any comments, questions, or anything you want us to work on a topic on the next episode, feel free to just leave a comment down below on the video. Reach out to us, DM Travis at Pulse Productions and myself at Miller Media Co. We'll be able to take any questions or anything you want us to go over. It'll be fun too, having business owners DM us and say, hey, can you talk about our business on the podcast and kind of do an audit? Yeah. We can prepare for that and then kind of help you out on the podcast, and maybe it'll help out a lot of other people also in the area for business.
Absolutely. So
whatever the case may be, just reach out to us. Our podcast is all going to be dealing with marketing and business.
And whiskey.
And whiskey. Yes, whiskey. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we appreciate it. We'll look forward to you guys tuning in on the next week's episode. Thanks.